Guys, would you like to win a trip to Greece? Our amazing sponsor, Roasting Warehouse, is giving you and a friend the chance to win a trip for two to Athens. The prize is worth $10,000 and that covers flights and accommodation. Entering is easy, just spend over $50 in-store or online and you earn one entry. The more you shop, the higher your chances. But hurry, this is for Australian residents only and the winner will be drawn on December 27th. Spread the word, tell your friends and family, and start dreaming of Greece. And don't forget to use our discount code FOOTBALLFRIENDS for 15% off your purchase. Follow @Roasting Warehouse on Instagram or visit www.roastingwarehouse.com.au for more details.
Oh my goodness! Cheeky cheek! That is extraordinary from Ben Caruccio. And it's their leading goal scorer and captain, Stephen Moore.
The head of academy at City was my coach at Wigan, and he said, "Yeah, we let you slip." Like he said to me that you would have been great for us. Like
it could have been with Pep right now. It could have been Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden, Zach Clough. How did the move to here come about? Because obviously I think you're actually the replacement for me.
It was something I pushed for straight away.
Oh,
yeah, because I felt like the A-League was a step up from League Two.
Yeah.
Like personally, I didn't really enjoy playing in League Two.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't me. Like it did not suit me at all.
People can say what they want about footballers and they just care about money and everything. It's not like that. One, you're going to a better league, you're going to a bigger club, but also if you're doubling your wage in any other job, you're not thinking twice about it. And welcome back to another episode of Football Friends with Ben and Steph. We're very lucky to be in the studio with the guest this week, Zach Clough. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, guys. Pleasure to be here. Looking forward to this one.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining, Zach. We usually like to start off with, guys, I guess a bit of a background, how you, I suppose, started playing football and how your journey came about.
Yeah, well, I grew up in a small town in Manchester called Denton, playing local football, watching Man City every week. We weren't very good back then. But yeah, then I started off going to small soccer schools which were run by Man United and then Bolton Wanderers as well. And that's when I went to Bolton, I decided to go and play there. And my whole upbringing was at Bolton really, and yeah, it was very enjoyable. But yeah, growing up in Manchester, football was life every single day. Everybody loved football. So yeah, that was the only thing you could really do there.
Yeah, and with that, I guess now you've kind of seen a little bit how the junior setup is here. We were obviously at the Pirates a few weeks back, and speaking to their people involved in the club, like knowing now what you went through as a youngster in England compared to what it's like here, what are the biggest differences and what do you think we could maybe learn from what you've got over there in the UK?
I think it will always be hard because of the geography of Australia and the size of the country. I think because there's so many professional football teams there and so much more money, the infrastructure it's improved so much since I started to what it is now. It's so much better. But back then it was still probably better then than it is in Australia right now. And that was that's 18 years ago when I started.
Yeah.
Maybe no longer, 21 years ago.
Yeah, well.
So that's kind of 21 years behind already. But I just think it's going to be hard to do exactly what they do in England here because of the way the country is so different. But yeah, going to the Port Pirates, I was pleasantly surprised with the level and how much detail they go into there. It was a good club to be at, great people there, and I'm sure there's so many other clubs in Adelaide which are the same as this or more details. So it is still good for the players, and yeah.
Yeah, and you said obviously you were with Man United there training for a little bit.
Yeah.
So you didn't jump on the bandwagon being a Man United fan?
No, I couldn't. Well, no, I'm a City fan. No, it was great.
Only the last 7 or 8 years.
I went to Main Road and we used to see us get beat off Arsenal. Thierry Henry used to take the piss out of us. Yeah. But I used to love watching Arsenal back then as well. Yeah. Your team.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I guess it's good you've gone through seeing when they were average and now...
We was in League One when I first started. I think we got promoted in League One 99. That was my first season. I ran on the pitch when we got into the playoff final, I think, in 1998, 99. And then, had a season ticket till I was 16 and left. Yeah. Not been back since.
Should have went to their academy maybe. Could have panned out a little bit.
Yeah, when I went to Wigan, the head of the head of academy at City was my coach at Wigan, and he said, "Yeah, we let you slip." Like he said to me that you would have been great for us. Like I didn't know he was from Manchester, so I was like, "Wow, I wish I was it. I wish."
It could have been with Pep right now. It could have been Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden, Zach Clough.
And instead you're playing with Stephen Moore. Look, it is what it is. You can't cry over spilt milk. Let's talk about obviously your time at Bolton.
Yeah.
And you made your debut, I think 2015, if my research is correct. Yeah. 19 years old when you played your first game, and you kind of burst onto the scene. Your first game, you scored the winner. A game after that, I think you scored 2. Yeah. Played against Liverpool, I think, that year.
Game 4 in my career.
Yeah, so not bad. And then
they're a small team, Liverpool.
Big team, massive team. I think your stats that year were, you just came in, just started playing, and it was like 10 games, 6 goals, 2 assists or something. Yeah. So how did you have that confidence, first coming onto the scene, playing in the championship for a club like Bolton and coming in with that kind of confidence?
I just think it was like a fearlessness, or but also feeling that I was probably ready 2 years before that. I'd been training with the first team for a long time. I felt when I started, I felt a big part of the group already. I was a quiet, shy boy, but when I went onto the football pitch, I was completely opposite. Like, just loved playing football. Didn't really think too much. And as you get older, you start to think more when you're playing, and that's sometimes not a good thing. So, I just think it was a fearlessness, and because it started so well, I just kept riding the wave as long as I could. And then an injury. I dislocated my shoulder in the 10th game at home, that just the season was finished for me in March, I think it was. So it was a shame, but it was a good time the first few weeks of my career.
Yeah, I know. I guess that's crazy, like what you're saying. I think in general, like when in football now, we've both, all 3 of us have been playing for 10, 12 years. Like when you're on those highs, you just need to keep going, because things just keep falling your way. Your confidence gets higher and higher, and you almost just don't want to stop then. Like you just need the season to continue on, and then if you get a move somewhere, you need to hope that move obviously takes you onto the next level. Like Aaron Moy is probably the best example I'm thinking of when you said that. Like he came to City with us, was on a high the second year, went to Huddersfield on loan, and it just continued. Where some players then make that move, which we'll go into later with yourself, and if it might be the wrong one, and then it goes the other way, and you're like, fuck, it's hard to get that feeling back. But when you were that young, what was your thoughts like? I'm killing it here. This is too easy for me. I'm going to the Prem. Like, is that what you were thinking in your head, or you were just so focused on the next game?
Probably, yeah, kind of. I think the confidence I had in myself then and what I was doing, I felt like I'm comfortable in the championship. I'm proving this after 10 games that I can compete here. So why not? Like, I'm 19. Teams love to sign young players. I thought, why not? I'd love to have an opportunity to jump up to the next level, which is a huge jump. It didn't come for whatever reason, but there was definitely plenty of discussions that summer about a move. But probably because of my injury, it didn't quite happen. I just carried on going and went into my second year, started really well again, and then dislocated my other shoulder. So, it was crazy, man.
They're stronger now. Or that's why you don't tackle now.
He got sore shoulders. He got sore shoulders from carrying the team.
Yeah, I know.
Fucking hell, man. What else can I do?
I know, 19 as well. You can't have that load on you.
Unbelievable.
But you turned down. There were a few moves that kind of came about. I think there was something that came out, and you turned it down. Did you have a bit of loyalty to Bolton at that time?
No, for sure. Yeah, I felt like that was a place for me. I just wanted to play games. It was a great club. I'd been there for so long. A bit of loyalty, and just kind of waiting for the right thing to come up. I had offers from Bristol City, which was a great club at the time, but we was very similar. I think we was 20th in the league, and they maybe 19th. So I was thinking,
that's a step up.
And they stayed up and we got relegated. So at the time I was thinking, I don't want to make a move and get relegated with a team, because then I'd rather stay at home with my family. I'm 20 years old. I'm young and never lived away from home before. It was just it's a crazy moment. When you're young and when you look back, you wish you would have done things differently at certain points, but you just got to keep going.
Of course. And what about like some of the players? Because, you know, being, you know, our age, they were in the Premier League as well, Bolton, you know. So when you were coming through, who were the players that I know we're going back a little bit, but who were the players that were kind of there and you were like, wow, they're top players?
I think the first player I loved was JJ Okocha. Yeah. It was unbelievable to watch. Yeah, watching him week in, week out was, great. And you get to be around these players. Like we had El Hadj Diouf would come out to training. Like, do you know when you have to go and, we do it now, we go to young training sessions and we go and show our faces, but we had like Anelka, Diouf, JJ Okocha, Yuri Djorkaeff, Ivan Campo. We're around these guys at like 9 years old. I'm like, wow. I didn't really know who he was at the time as much as when you look back now.
El Hadj, he was a cult hero, wasn't he? In the Premier League.
Yeah.
I used to have him in fantasy.
Yeah.
That's going back years, man.
Where did he go afterwards? Was he at Blackburn for a bit as well?
And was he at Liverpool before Bolton? I can't remember. No, but we had some really good players. Fernando Hierro from Real Madrid. He was in the Champions.
Who was that striker? Elmander? Elmand?
Elmander, Johan Elmander. He was a records sign. I think he was about 10 million in the Premier League. Yeah.
That's big money back then. That's nothing now. It's peanuts. But
crazy. But to be around them. And when I was coming through, like when I started at 16, like jumping up and training with a team in the Premier League, it was crazy. Like so hard. I was like, I'm never going to be able to get to this level. But you start when you train a week, 2 weeks, you're like, wow, I can do this. Like it's crazy how you adapt as a young player, as a young person.
Yeah, so actually,
we all do it.
And over there, I feel like it's magnified so much more. Like over here, it's like it's great, you break in, but then you're thinking, well, where's my next move going to be? You know, it might be like a lower kind of league, but to come in over there in the Championship, break onto the scene like that, like no one can blame you for thinking like, I'm going to Liverpool next year.
Yeah. No, but like growing up, my dream was to play for Bolton at that level. Like we was a Premier League club. I've been watching us playing in the Europa League. So when you make a debut at Bolton, I was like, wow, this is everything I've worked for my whole life to get there. So it was an amazing achievement.
And then you've now obviously been there for quite a few years involved with the first team. Why did you decide to make the move at that point to Forest? Were they the only ones? What was your thinking behind that?
It was a quick decision. Like it happened on deadline day of the January window. I went to training as normal in the morning and thinking I'd be coming seeing the lads tomorrow. And then probably on my way home from training, I got a call off my agent. It was like, Forest are interested. Let's get down there. And then he told me the terms, and I rejected it at first because it was very similar to what I was on at Bolton in League One. And then they come back and almost doubled the offer. It was like a crazy offer. I couldn't.
Tried to get you on the fucking cheek to begin with. He'll take this. All right, now we'll just give him double.
So they was in the relegation battle at the time in the Champ, and we was top of League One. So it was a really tough decision again. But then once they came in, I was like, spoke to my people close to me, and we couldn't turn down something again to jump up. It was a league above at the time, and I went there, and it was.
So it happened that quick. So you didn't know anything about it before? Your agent never said, just on that day you got to... That's incredible.
How can that happen?
It's only a 2-hour drive down the motorway, so you got time to do it.
Did you move though?
Yeah, I went at that time, I was with Ross McCormack actually. We both signed in the same night, having a medical on the bed next to each other. We both lay there naked like that. No, big Ross was...
Ross McCormack, heard a few stories about him. He loves a night out.
Yeah, he's a top guy though. Great guy.
It's crazy, isn't it? Like that. I think that's what we miss in Australia as well, especially only having one professional league and you don't even have transfers. Like that hype around transfer windows, January obviously, but even like, the summer one, like deadline day is so big. Where here in Australia, it's not really like that. But that alone, like that's incredible to hear. Like you're going to training thinking, all right, I'll pack my bags or whatever, get my boots. Probably don't even have time to pack your gear out. You're just in the car and you get a call saying, come down to Forest. You should have rejected that and seen if they doubled it again.
As a professional athlete, wearing a GPS tracker every day is crucial. It gives me detailed insights into my performance, my output levels, and helps me track my progress over time. That's why having access to that kind of technology, no matter what level you're playing at, is a game changer. With Motion Sports and the Soccerbee GPS, you can do exactly that. Whether you're an aspiring pro or just someone who loves playing the game, Soccerbee allows you to track your distance, speed, Compare yourself against 50,000 other users and build a player profile, just like we do as professionals. Having that data at your fingertips is invaluable for any footballer looking to level up their game. And right now, you can get 15% off with the code BESTFRIENDS at checkout. So head over to www.motionsports.com.au, grab your Soccerbee GPS and start taking your football performance to the next level.
Yeah, well, the owner who was there at the time was only there for 6 months when I went, so that was that's when it got difficult for me with the new owners and stuff.
Yeah. So you went in January.
I went there not knowing anything about the club, so I didn't know what position I was in. I didn't really know who the manager was. Yeah. It happened that quick. Like, I didn't have much time to think about the football side of it. I was like, fuck, what do I do?
Do you regret that?
I don't regret going there because it's a massive. I knew it was a massive club, and that's probably the feel of how big the club was is what attracted me to Forest, and that's why I went there.
I suppose you don't actually have the time
to
do that research either.
Not with 7 hours to go.
That's what I mean.
It was 3 o'clock and it shut at 10, I think. And I was like, what do I do?
And at the end of the day, like, people can say what they want about, you know, footballers and they just care about money and everything. It's not like that. One, you're going to a better league, you're going to a bigger club, but also if you're doubling your wage in any other job, you're not thinking twice about it. Like that's life changing, that money, and like you said, you back yourself to think, if I play well in the champ, I can maybe get to a higher team or go to the Premier League. So you always think best case scenario, and it didn't really turn out like that. So what was the first 6 months like until the ownership change and everything? Did you get a bit of a sniff then, and then that's when things kind of turned sour?
The first 6 months was really good, I think. And I think I was lucky that we had an interim coach, was Gary Brazil, who was brilliant with me. He was like the academy manager, so he was like one of the main people at Forest. So once Mark Warburton came in, it was perfect style of football for me. We play through the lines. He loves number 10s and wingers inverted. And then once, had a good first 6 months, and then started the pre-season really well. Even the first few games, he was resting me in the cup games. I was doing really well. And then I just didn't really. Couple of little niggles. I think he got sacked quite early on in that year. We started really well and we curtailed a little bit, so he got sacked, and then a new manager came in, and then the owner started signing loads of players that January. I hadn't scored many goals at the start of that season. I was off the bench a lot, so I was worrying a bit about where I was going to play. I think Joe Lolly came in that window, a couple of other attacking players, so I took the decision to leave when I probably shouldn't have, and I think that's probably my biggest regret at Forest is leaving in that January and not staying to fight for my place, because I feel like the manager. No, they didn't push me out. I think it was my decision. I was young, naive. I wanted to go back to Bolton or Hibs at the time. I think you might have been at Hearts at the similar times. I just wanted to play, and I thought going back to Bolton it would be exactly the same. But football moves on, and they was fighting for their lives. Wasn't really playing with a number 10. I was coming off the bench. It was just a hard time. I should have probably stayed at Forest. With the manager who would probably have liked me as well. And then there was no going back after that. I think the owners made the mind up that I was costing too much money and they wanted to bring in their own players. And I had 3 years left on my contract still. So it was
So then they tried to force you out.
From that, coming back after the Bolton loan move, they didn't want me to stay anymore. I had a few phone calls and it was
just made obvious.
Yeah, they made it obvious that I wasn't needed.
But it also just goes to show football, you know, sometimes maybe a manager getting sacked or change of ownership, like small things like that. Also, you need a little bit of luck sometimes as well. You know, you make that move. Let's say the ownership stays the way it is. You've got that coach that really, really likes you. He ends up staying. The team's doing well. All of a sudden, it looks completely different. Yeah. That's unfortunately the way football goes. You know, people sometimes look at moves. They go, "Oh, you know, he went there. He didn't do well." But there's so many things, and having a manager first of all that really rates you and backs you. For me, that's probably the most important thing in football. And if you can find that, you probably should stick with it and not leave, because that feeling of being wanted is the best feeling as a footballer.
100%.
Yeah, and it's like nobody has a crystal ball as well, and I think you all want to play, you want to feel important. So as soon as you don't feel important, you're like, well, I want to go somewhere else. And not realizing that then there's so much more, there's a lot of politics involved in it, because people think, oh, like, whatever, but like the owners are now thinking, okay, well, we've got players on big wages that we don't want. We want to get our own players in, so we need to get rid of them. And then you're thinking, well, I'm meant to be paid this money. In any other job, you get paid what you can't just get rid. You can't force someone out. You can't get someone to train on their own, or if they're working in an office job and say you're going to go on the building next door and you're not going to see any of your other office like workers. So the mental toll of that sort of thing. So when that started to be kind of evident for you that you weren't going to be involved, were you just adamant, like, I'm sticking this out because I want my money, you can pay me out, but I'm staying? Or what was your thinking like?
I wanted to play. I wanted to I think I was trying to push for a low move, to be honest. It was, I was even willing to give up a bit of my wages to go on loan for what, because they was wanting to, I was probably looking for a League One club or maybe the SPL, something like that. And I had options, plenty of options that would take me. So I said I would pay some of my wages as well. But yeah, they stopped me for the last 2 years I was there. They completely stopped me from leaving unless I took a percentage of what I was on, and it was a really low percentage of what they was offering me. So it just didn't make sense. It's
honestly a different world over there. Like, that would never happen in Australia because, you know, we've got smaller squads, we've got a salary cap, so you can't just go and bring all these other players in. But over there, and I experienced it, you know, towards the end of my time at Hearts as well, that was basically a new manager came in and said, you're surplus to requirements, we don't need you.
You're on the big bucks as well.
And I wasn't even on big bucks, but yeah, I suppose, you know, I'm there, and I said to him, like, you know, I'm staying, I'm going to do the whole pre-season, and I want to try and prove that if you want me. He still didn't fucking want me. But I did the pre-season. I actually thought I did really well, but yeah, they were just like, they were adamant. And yeah, so I suppose the difference is, you know, they agreed to pay me out, whatever we agreed upon, and I ended up coming back to Australia. But yeah, it's just, they're hard situations. And at the end of the day, it's your livelihood. It's your money that you feel like you've earned. And I think, you know, that's fair enough. I couldn't blame anyone for, you know, if they're going to stop you from going on loan, then what are you going to do?
No, I agree. And I think they make it more harder for the player as when they stop you from playing, and like, people will be thinking you're a bad egg.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why is he in the 23s? Like, you got to persuade people to take you when you're training with the 23s. They're not even putting you on the bench. It makes you look like a bad person, but in hindsight, I'm a good professional. Every single day I would train my best.
How was it mentally, I guess, going through that period, like, where obviously a few years before that you're flying, and then all of a sudden, like, you're with the 23s, you're rocking up to training, like, mentally, like, how do you think you handle that? And I guess for young kids that are listening, like, what would your advice be in those situations for them?
I think just to keep doing just being yourself. I was lucky there was a lot of good people around at Forest at the time. The academy was a very well run set up, and with Gary Brazil, who was the manager when I first came, I had a great relationship with him. So he looked after me a lot. A lot of the staff looked after me. I stayed fit. But I think in my head I was looking towards every single window, hoping that the club would just, like, give me something, like, just give me a little bit of leeway to let me go and play. But yeah, they just never budged. There was just the way they was. I don't know.
Is it the same owners now?
Same owners, yeah. They're doing really well.
So that obviously, and that's the thing, like, it's, for one player, it's so shit, but if we spoke to another player from Forest, they might love them. Like, you know, they got them up to the Prem, maybe they're a star player there, they're on good money, like, so they love the owners, but it's like, it's a cutthroat world where each individual, they don't care about it. Like, if you're the one that's playing and going to give them success, they'll treat you like a king. But if you're not, they couldn't care less about you. And that's the harsh
I think if it's their money, so like, say you went there 6 months later, and they've spent their money to bring you in, they're like, that's our player.
I think that would have been better.
But it's like when a new manager comes in as well, it's like, oh, that's not my fucking player. And if the team's not doing well, that's just the perfect thing for a manager to say. Oh, these aren't even my players. Like, let me bring my own players in. So you just become a scapegoat, and it's like, all right, get rid of him. So
you have to stay strong as players sometimes as well.
That bit of football's probably one of the hardest, along with injuries.
Obviously, people from the outside are saying, "Oh, he's being paid a good wage," but this is my whole life. I want to be a player. I want to play football. I didn't choose to be on the contract I'm on. I got given this.
Just because you're driving a Range Rover and doesn't mean you're happy. Like,
just because I'm smoking cigars when I come around, man. Like, fucking hell, you can't blame me.
But it's true. Like, it doesn't matter how big your bank account is. It doesn't matter, like, what you're getting paid. You could be on millions of dollars. Of course, there's like, you try and justify it in your head, but at the core of it, you're not happy.
No, you're not.
If you're not playing, you're not happy at the end of the day. So
That's what you want to do.
you obviously you love the game, so that's what you want to get back to. And the feeling when you're playing good football, that feeling, like that aura you have about yourself, you walk into a room and you feel good.
Yeah.
When you're not playing, or if you're getting like treated like that, you walk in, you feel embarrassed. Like you're just like, what?
Are you watching the team? Like you're watching the boys play? And
Yeah, because I had a lot of good friends in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
They did
tough.
quite well as well. They obviously got promoted the year after I left, but
Yeah,
some really good friends there. And
yeah, and it's good. It's good that they're obviously, as a club, they're doing really well.
Yeah, brilliant.
But we'll move on. So then after that, permanently, you decided to leave them.
Yeah, I think we agreed on something for, I think I had 6 months left, and that was when, obviously it was a bit, I'd been there, I think I'd sat there for nearly 2 years, just in the 23s, not playing games. And can you imagine trying to go and play after 2 years, not playing? Like,
So and you only signed a 6-month deal. You went to Wigan.
went to Wigan for 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
And then did you play? You played
A little
few
bit,
games,
mate. Yeah, it was difficult though.
You just weren't
I
sharp.
wasn't sharp. You know how it feels like when you don't play for two years
knocks
nearly.
the wind out of you. It's like an injury.
No, it's
Almost,
terrible. Yeah,
like
2 years.
What were
in
they,
there.
League One at the time?
League One, but in a scrap. So it was kind of like a massive club again, Wigan, but they was in a bad situation. I think there was in a transfer embargo, so you can only sign certain players on a certain amount of money. So we did really well to stay up. I loved it there. I wish they would have give me 1 more year to have a full pre-season with the first team. And I think I would have done really well. But when I went in, the manager was kind of setting his team, so I was kind of a bench player. He signed me for a bench, which what else am I going to get after 2 years? I was happy to take that. And Wigan are massive rivals to Bolton, so I got a lot of abuse off the Bolton fans.
Oh, really?
That was a big derby, yeah, Bolton v Wigan.
It's a big rugby town, isn't it?
Yeah, Wigan. Yeah.
Wigan?
Great club, great fans. Yeah. And it was nice to go to a good run club, like very good.
That's another club that was Premier League.
Yeah, of
not
course.
not that long before as
I know.
well.
So that was set up in a really good. I had everything. Yeah, it was ready to go big again. Yeah, Wigan, very good club.
And then you spent a year after that at Carlisle.
I went just 6 months.
Another. Oh, so you right.
I
You
only
signed in
had-
the summer, and then that January that's when you came to Adelaide.
I went to Carlisle.
And was that another short-term deal, or was that actually a longer deal?
2 year deal, yeah.
Okay.
I knew the coach from Rochdale. I had a loan spell at Rochdale
Yeah.
a couple of years previously. So I knew the coach, and as soon as I left Wigan, he was the first person to contact me, and I just wanted to play, so I didn't really wait for anything else. I just signed.
They were League Two.
League Two, yeah. So that was a big drop. Like mentally, that was hard to get yourself up for it, and you're going into a club which, compared to Bolton, Forest, Wigan, it's not like any disrespect to Carlisle, it's nowhere near the size of club. You haven't got as many staff members looking after you every day. So probably it was very hard, but I enjoyed it. It was brilliant, like good lads. It was what I needed at the time, but I had a little injury just as winter was coming, probably October or November, which was about 8 weeks. It was a soleus injury, so it was a tough one to come back from. But yeah, and then I came here.
How did the move to here come about? Because obviously I think you were actually the replacement for me. I was I couldn't get out. The bloody COVID was honestly, I think that deal was agreed in November, end of November, and that's why they were looking for a replacement. So they were actually talking to me. I can't remember who it was that was saying, I think we're maybe going to sign this guy. I said, yeah, he's got big shoes to fill, obviously. I said, I don't know, League Two in England, I'm not sure. But obviously you came in, we did play a little bit together, but how did that contact first come about, and were you excited straight away, or is it something?
It was something I pushed for straight away.
Oh,
yeah. So because I felt like the A-League was a step up from League Two, like personally.
By that, sorry to cut you off. By that stage, were you just like, I need a change, like I need to get out of the UK?
For sure. I didn't really enjoy playing League Two. Like it wasn't me. Like it did not suit me at all. And people who know football will know that, who know the players. But yeah, it was a tough league to play in. So, but from watching the A-League, I was like, yeah, they play good football. It looks good. It's on the TV every week there. Had some friends here, like LaFondra was here. He said it's a no-brainer. You've got to jump at it. So yeah, I literally rang the manager the night of the contact from Adelaide, knowing they wanted to do it, and terminated my contract within probably 24 hours. At Carlisle.
They were fine with it.
They was happy, yeah. They was because I've been injured. I was injured, so I hadn't really played much.
The first year, obviously, so I think everyone will understand when you're coming off the back of, 2 kind of short stints, not playing for so long.
I had no rhythm in my game.
First year was just like, you just wanted to play at the end of the day and just try and...
I just wanted
was it frustrating for you, the first year? Like, did you feel like you could give your best?
No, not really. I didn't feel like I was fully... The first 6 months before, when I first came, February to May, was it? I was trying to, but physically I just wasn't at the level where I wanted to be, like where I used to be at.
What about mentally? Like, did you
mentally,
feel low on confidence? Like, had your
confidence was, for sure. The confidence was a lot lower than what it was when I was 19, 20, but I think that's normal. But yeah, coming in, it was a perfect environment for me to come into because of how professional the boys were. Like, it's literally the way I work is the way the club runs here. Like, so many good professionals, the Australians. I've really enjoyed being a part of the Aussie culture and the way they work. It's been brilliant for me to get to where I wanted to get back to a good level again, personally.
And then you spent, obviously, then you had a trigger that would obviously extend it, right?
Yeah, I had to play 5 starts when I first came. I think because I've been injured, they was just making sure I wasn't coming here just for a holiday.
Which some foreigners do, to be fair.
Yeah.
Which is, it's
Well,
not...
that's not my mentality.
Yeah.
I never do that.
That's why it's good to also understand people's stories. Like, signing a player like you, the club can maybe look at it in one way. Oh, he hasn't played that much. We're worried. So they cover themselves with that, with the 5 games, which is fair enough.
I was happy to come here for that.
But also, they can also see on the other side of the coin, fuck, this guy, what he's been through, he's not coming here for a fucking holiday. He wants to prove something.
I was young. I think I was 27. So I want to come here and keep playing and enjoy football because that's what we want to do as professionals, don't we?
And now you're here, you've just re-signed, obviously, for this current season. What did you sign, 3 more? Or 2 more? 2 more. On the back of winning Player of the Year, so you're obviously in extremely good form. You've had your baby here, Brooksy, so it's something that, do you feel like Australia is home now for you?
Home for now, I think. I'm not sure if it'll be forever. I would love it to be home forever, but I think that's a conversation with the missus and family members.
It's just hard with the family.
It's so hard.
The distance.
It's such a great place to be. Like, it's been brilliant for my football and lifestyle just to start enjoying everything again. It's been...
Well, your last season, I think 8 goals, 7 assists. So that's obviously your best season since you've been here in Australia.
Sure.
Do you feel like everyone's seen the best of you, or do you feel like there's still another gear to go to?
I think there's still another gear. I think just keep going.
Get you in the fantasy this year. Fantasy, Zach Clough.
I think I was the second highest scorer last year anyway.
Well, 8 goals, 7 assists. To be fair,
I think the way it works off chances created, like set pieces and all that. So
you got Steph on the end of it.
To be fair,
I'll
score.
I think
Cut the ball back.
Lolly got the most points. He blew it away. I think.
This year there'll be some good players.
Arslan and me.
Lolly, Costa, even one Mata.
You're on set pieces, so that's...
set pieces is a big one. That's what you're on, but yours normally going to the first man.
You got Hiroshi. You got a big hero this year.
That's why you were getting the points last year, because you didn't even need to hit it in a half-decent area, and he's getting his head onto it.
Yeah. He's unbelievable in the box. He's ridiculous. Sometimes I don't even look, and I'm like, oh, it's not a very good cross, and he just comes from nowhere, gets his head on it. I'm like, how?
Yeah, he's a big boy. But no, it's I think obviously it turned out to be a great move for yourself and your career, and the level here, as you know, it's a good level. I think it's just a lot of the media and the perception of the league in the UK, in Europe, is poor.
But I think it's growing. I think people are starting to see it's a good level.
Well, look at the players
going. I think
selling.
They should take more players.
Yeah. Well, I think now young players are going. But like, if you, let's say you had the season you had, let's pretend Adelaide United's in League One. If you had 8 goals, 7 assists in League One, you're getting a move to a top champ team.
Also, we're only playing 26 games.
If you play 46,
45,
16 goals, if you double it,
like
it's your best.
And that's the thing, like, it's not always going to be like that, and understand, but also, like, it needs to get the respect. And obviously the young players that do get sold overseas, if they go and do well, it makes a big difference for then overseas teams thinking, you know what, this is value for money. Because let's say a team comes in and pays 500 grand for you from Adelaide. Adelaide probably accepts that, potentially, maybe a bit more. But if you had that in League One, they probably want £3-4 million pounds.
At least,
So like the market's better here.
It's a better market to take players.
So we'll just pump ourselves up, send this to all the scouts.
No, but I think the sea in Portsmouth, teams like Portsmouth have signed 4 players, I think.
Yeah, true.
And they wanted more. I've heard they wanted to sign more.
Yeah. So give him a call. Give a call. We'll get over there. Yeah. But no, we don't want to keep you for too much longer. We really do appreciate you jumping on. Big season ahead. It's starting and we're grateful for you to jump on, and we'll have to chat at the end of the season. Hopefully you've had an even better year, and we can be lifting up the toilet seat.
Yeah, hopefully together, mate.
Nah, thank you very much, Zach. It's been a good chat, and hope you guys enjoyed it listening in from home. You can find us on our socials. It's on Instagram, Football Friends Pod. It's Ben and Steph Pod on X, and we're Football Friends with Ben and Steph on YouTube. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in.
We'll see you at the review show on Monday next week.